do you think you're chasing underneath all of it? Like, why do you?
I don't know. It's like we're getting deep. I think it's to look back and say, I did good today. Whether it's something I want to create, like I guess what's my why? It's why am I getting up in the morning, and like can I lay my head on my pillow at night, go to bed, and know I made a good impact on somebody or something, whatever it's doing. And you can't do it for, like, you can't do something nice for something in return. Just like the sense of self accomplishment, I guess. But it's like, how do you translate that to business?
Is that a metric for you, or is it like I have to make 5 people smile today?
No. See, then you just you fall into the loop. I think it's just if the purpose is correct. So whatever it may be, if it's making Starbucks coffees or if it's solving cancer, I think if your purpose behind that is good, it doesn't matter what you do. So I don't think the metrics are there, but it's tough. It's like, what can you do? I don't know. That's the long answer is I don't know. It's my why, but it's to get to the next step, whatever that looks like, but to know your morals and values are still in the right spot. So I mean, like, I don't know, mine are, stewardship. Treat others like you want to be treated. Like, try to help, try to do whatever you want to do, just like you want somebody to do to you. And then that's really my main one. If I can genuinely say, hey, I have the best interest in XYZ, if I'm gonna be 100% honest, then it is what it is. Whatever the outcome. Trying to transition away from the transactional relationships, I guess. That's why I look back and it's like, we could have fallen out so many times. It's like, it's good to see as a 20 and 21-year-old that we were able to build something that's going to last for the next 60 years. But even if we don't, I mean, we're not going to have weekly Wednesday meetings every week for the rest of our lives. But it's
the sponsorship deals for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like that. That's a why for me. Like, seeing that is like, let's do it 15 more times. I mean, it takes time. Like, I mean, it took us a year and a half to get to where we are.
Do you think that why is kind of set, like you wake up or like before college, but this is going to be my why, or do you think it's found by actions?
Found by actions. And really, the biggest thing I've taken from you in the last 3 weeks that I've like been resonating on, I don't think I've told you this, is what you said. You just have to act. You can't wait till it's perfect. Because if you wait till it's perfect, it's never going to happen. So I think the little actions is where it's built. I came into college, I had no idea what I was going to do. Picked the school, 1A was football, 1B was academics. UND aligned the best in those two categories, the pros and cons. I mean, I was making pros and cons of schools, and that's where it really ended up at. I was thinking about that last night. Like, what would have life looked like without a cartilage transplant? I'd still be playing football. It would have been, would have been playing for 5 or 6 years, and then we would have started from ground zero freshman year, Drew. And it's like, well, now we got 4 years prior to that. So the why changes. It changes. I mean, my why 8 months ago was to jog, like to get back to just, being able to walk somewhere efficiently and not be in pain. So I think it changes, and I think it's good when it changes, because it's not you're not checking like a why box off when you accomplish it, but it's like, I know how to cope with this, and if I see this again, I have the mechanisms and tactics to fall back and check the boxes on it.
If you were talking to freshman, sophomore year Drew who was chasing the numbers, chasing the 21 credit hours. How do you check in with him to make sure, like what would you tell him to make sure he's still chasing purpose and not just progress?
Take a breath. Take a breath. Really remove yourself from the situation and look at it from an umbrella perspective. It's never that deep. And that's something I've come to terms with, and I think it relates to like, okay, Drew, you never worked a full-time job. You know, it's like you're just saying that. You know, it's very easy for you to say that. Fat cat gets happy. It's easy for you to now say, look back at it. But that's really, take a breath and appreciate the moment. Whether you're happy or sad, you have to. There's good things and bad things, and you're learning what the good things are that you want to be around, whether that's personally or professionally. And it's like these are the building block years of. It's good to be in a bad situation. It's good to figure out you don't like a manager. You don't like how your roommate lives. You don't like where your bed is in your room. Like figuring these things out. I like to wake up early. I hate waking up early. These things are building blocks for the next 40 years. So take a deep breath, appreciate the moment, and then I guess my one cliche, I'm a big cliche guy, as you know, be where your feet are. I just think, and that's something I'm constantly trying to chase. And it's hard. I think that's one of the hardest things is really just be in the moment. Be where you are. Just be in the moment. Give the full attention to the people you care about. That makes a huge difference. How you treat somebody, like you can tell when somebody's mind's somewhere else. So the impact you have on yourself and on others, on where you are, and where your attention is really big.
Whenever you're looking at where you are in the paths you can go down, how do you navigate what path to pursue and what path to fall back on and let things play out?
That's difficult. So basically, when to push on the gas, when to slam on the brakes. It comes back down to those little actions. I'm a big, I'm an overthinker. I anxious thoughts. Well, if this happens, I'm always, I figure out the worst case 15 years before it actually happens. Trying to remove that and realize, man, you're giving it too much thought is a big thing. And like half the things you think about are never going to happen. Like they're so far out of your control. You really do have to control what you can control. So I guess in like a job setting on where, should I pursue or should I like fall back, and maybe we'll just let it play out. You do what you can. You can't control how another person treats you. You can't control how another person views you. As long as you're carrying yourself and your personal brand and all of those intangibles in the right way, that comes back down to your purpose and values. It really doesn't matter. So that's where you let off the brake, but you gotta still grind. If you're like, man, I like these people, I like where I am, let's kill it, let's climb. You gotta put your head down and grind. You gotta do the things you don't want to do, and then one day you're not gonna have to do them. So a lot of thinking pros and cons. What can I control? But really, it comes back down to ethical and moral alignment. I think it comes down to people first. I think I said it on the last one. It's the who and how before the what and when. The who the person is, how the person operates, before the what are we trying to accomplish and what does it do. If you have the who and how, it really doesn't matter. It's going to work.
When people are putting their head down and on the grind, how do they deal with burnout, and how do they catch themselves before they hit that tipping point?
That's tough. I think at 20, and you just gotta do it. There's no such thing as work-life balance, school-life balance. It's either the cream rises to the top, or it doesn't. It sinks. You either sink or swim. You gotta work hard. You have to. You have to put your head down and grind. Those technical skills are intangibles. Like they are expected. If you can't do that, you're not going to get your foot in the door. When you're in the door, that's where you come to shine. But the burnout, man, you have to appreciate yourself. So whether that's 80-20, as Kevin O'Leary talked about, 80-20, 70-30, maybe give yourself a little bit of time to be yourself, at the beginning or end of the day, or take a walk. That's something I really appreciated at my summer internship. I ended up working a lot with leadership, which was scary, but crazy opportunities. And the best thing is what I learned is I'd go on a 30-minute lunch walk every single day. I'd go outside, walk downtown Louisville for 30 minutes, rain or shine. That just, it grounds you and resets you for the day. So little coping mechanisms to deal with it, but they're still keeping you on track. That's the key. If you got to do it, you got to do it. You got to be all in. If you're not all in, you can't be balling without being all in. You just got to do it. So burnout, work-life balance, especially in your early years, like you got to grind, but you also have to set up the foundation for yourself to succeed. You have to know you. It looks different to everybody, but if you're 40 and you're miserable just because you're working all the time, you could have changed some coping mechanisms, in your early 20s, and it's never too late, but you gotta work hard.
Ambitious people tend to say yes to everything early on, every club, every opportunity, every project, every internship offer. Was there a time where saying yes actually held you back?
Yes.
What was that time?
Yes. Being ambitious, the power of no is really key, and that's something I'm working on to this day. I think me, and I don't say no. I think we were talking yesterday. It was like, Drew, let me help you. Like, let me do something. It's like, yes, Keegan, like, sorry. But I just get so caught up in it. I think for ambitious people as a whole, there's a point of diminishing return. Example of me, my time in college, the first year, yeses were great. That was the workload, that was the work-life balance, that was burnout in full effect. Yes. Doing whatever was asked. That sets you up and separates you. But then you have to learn how to play it. So the worst thing you can do is overpromise and underdeliver. Whatever that is in your life. That tarnishes your ethos, tarnishes your credibility, but it also just makes you look bad and hurts your personal brand. So the power of no is there, and you have to say no. Looking back, I wish I would have said no more. I would have saved some relationships and some connections that could be valuable, they could not be valuable, but really saying no would have helped me with that, because there have been times where I've overpromised and underdelivered in some people's eyes. You can't do everything, and you have to have a supporting team around you. So it's great to say yes when you have the mechanisms and tactics and everything in alignment, and you have a team helping you that really cares about you. But if you don't have that, and it's mano y mano, you gotta say no. And it's not a bad thing to say no. I think it's a good thing to say no. And it shows that you value your time and your placement in roles and jobs in life, whatever that looks like.
Saying no takes confidence to do, confidence within yourself, but sometimes that confidence can blur into ego, especially when you're winning. Was there a time you thought you were doing the right thing but realized it was more about proving something?
When saying no?
Just in general.
Just in general. Saying I did something. I don't think, yes. Yes, and I'll go back to football. I was a football player for my whole life. That you form your identity behind that as an athlete. I mean, you knew that as a swimmer, like winning medals, like that's who Keegan is. Keegan's a winner, Drew's a winner, they play football, they swim, they're athletes. That's really what shapes you, especially in your developmental years. And so I think I got so caught up in that in college. I came in, coming off 3 surgery in high school, and then coming in with a broke shoulder blade, torn labrum, and I get hurt. And it's like, well, okay, so I came in hurt, and now I'm like actually hurt, so I'm not able to play. And it's, what happened? Like, where did it go wrong? Was I not rehabbing? That it turns into self. So, your ego, it's really high and then it drops super low, and it's like, what am I? And then you rehab, you start seeing progress, and you're still on the team, but it's different. Hurt player to injured player to active player, it's different. You have a different relationship with everybody. So I think I held on to it for too long. So that's when it was just, at the end, it was cool saying I was a college football player. And that was, the 19-year-old me being so caught up in what other people thought. And it was like, man, I'm a college football player. I'm going to wear this stuff. But I somehow, deep inside, I felt like I was fraudulent. So it was a weird emotional thing to wrestle with, but that's when ego and overconfidence got in the way, and it was like, I'm trying to be something I'm not. And I think that's what it comes down to. So I should have said no. I should have said, hey, I gotta put myself, my body, where my value is further down the line. I still say to this day, if I ever get cleared, I still go PT, I still rehab. If I ever get cleared, I'd consider it, but realistically, it's not gonna happen.
How do you let go of that version of yourself that used to get all of the validation from football?
And that's the hardest thing. Probably I've faced. One, the mental health aspect, but 2, just letting something go that you spent so much time, so many years, so many hours working hard at something, and it's gone. You never let it fully go. You let go. I can't go out here and block somebody into the ground and pancake them and jump on top of them. That's assault. Like, I'm gonna go to jail. So you have to let that part go, and you have to find other ways. Whether it's working out, running, jogging, lifting weights. Still, you have to, channel that inner aggression you've built up over the years. But I think really being grateful for the process and what it taught you. Being an athlete for so long, you're a teammate. It was 11 guys on the field at once. You're all working towards a common goal. But more importantly, if everybody does their specific role correctly, it's going to work. Learning those things, learning how to, mesh with everybody. There's so many different egos, personality types on the team. You got to be the glue guy, and that's something I was. And learning the interpersonal skills that I keep touching on. That's where that stems from. It stems from football, seeing kids from all walks of life, working hard, the head down, that stuff. You gotta have grit to be a college football player. I know when you probably look at me now, it's like, oh, Drew's not grit. Like he doesn't, perceive, my perception probably isn't, nitty gritty guy. He's gonna do the dirty work. But that's something I do. It's built in. But it also, it evolves over time. You become more appreciative of life and life after football and people in general. So I think it's a beautiful thing to transition from, and you get so many intangible, mental health and ways to talk to people. It's great. Like, being a football player is amazing, but letting it go was tough. It's something it's my whole personality, and I did it wrong at first. Letting it go, I transitioned straight from football to yes to every single club, leadership role, whatever it was. I basically just replaced football and plugged in something else. And, I could have gotten caught in a loop where it was football, clubs, job. I'm trying to get ahead of that now, and it's like, what's appreciative of that? How do you grow as a human being? That's probably the most important thing. But it's hard to let it die.
The last question: if a student listening feels lost and doesn't know their purpose and hasn't landed anything, like an internship yet, what's the one thing you would tell them to start doing today that could change everything?
Connect with others. Ask mom and dad. Ask Aunt and Uncle Susie. Ask your classmates that have been there. People help people, and it's who you know to get you in the spot. It doesn't have to be mom and dad. It doesn't have to be aunt and uncle. It can be a classmate. It could be a professor. People want to help. Kind of as we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, it makes you feel good when you do something good for other people. I'd say that's 80% of the population probably that are genuinely have that interest in other people. But ask. You have to have all your ducks in a row. A resume, LinkedIn. You got to establish the credibility. Those simple actions, but really just ask. And when you ask, perform on your part of the ask. That's where I see a lot of people fall through. They'll say, "Hey Drew, ask for this." I'll refer them to an internship or job, and then it's out of my control. I've done everything I can do. The person you asked, they've done everything. It's your turn to act. That's the most important part, is the reaction to the ask. And then it turns into something beautiful if you do. Whether it's a yes or a no, you're probably going to get an interview, you're going to get connected, you're at least going to talk to somebody. And that there's value in that as well. Even there, if you get denied from an internship, don't let it discourage you. I've gotten denied 1,000 more times than I've ever gotten accepted. I mean, that's legit. We apply to everything. There's value in the no of being rejected. You can learn what you need to change. Is the resume? Do I need to get involved? Do I need to ask another person? But connect with the people around you. Is my. If you could do one thing today, have the genuine interest in another person and ask.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Man.